Hello everybody, kia ora from England. My name is Fiona of Sun and Moon Calendar, and this is a quick video to follow up on a topic I was talking about in the last video, and that was Venus conjunct Uranus, which is happening like in 24 hours from now or something like that, a little bit further on. Anyway, like all week I feel like I've been coming across examples of unusual relationships and things like that. And anyway, what's been so cool is that my partner and I, we're hopefully nearly going to leave England now and go to France. Our van has now been fixed, but on the way we found out that we were right next to an old henge, an old Stone Henge, in fact the biggest in the world, and it's near Stone Henge. And it is another Stone Henge, but this one's called Avebury, and this is one of the amazing standing stones. I'm going to go out so you can see it. There it is. Tall, it's big, and then right next to it, there's this other one here, and you can see there's amazing thatched cottages and everything around. Anyway, this is so cool. I'm very excited. It brought tears to my eyes actually. These stones are in a big circle around the village, and I'm going to show you some more of them. But anyway, they're like between 2,000 and 3,000 years old. Like apparently the henge or the circle was erected but then altered over time and all that, and it is apparently the biggest stone circle. I don't know heaps about it because I only learnt about it this morning. Anyway, I'm going to show some more footage of that. But it's just amazing to think of how ancient this site is, and those questions that everyone asks, like how did people manage to pull these stones? With the technology of those days, how did that happen? And then further to that, why did it happen? Why did they do it? What were they using them for? And of course there's theories that these henges align up with astronomical alignments in the skies, you know, the stars, basically astrology, astronomy. And I apologize for not knowing heaps about this, so that I can't tell you heaps about it. But I want to tell you what our friend who we saw this morning shared about Stone Henge and this henge here, this one in Avebury. So he said that in the times of the druids, who kind of got beaten out by the Romans with, over time, but pre-Roman times, and it was the religion or the spiritual practices of the druids. And apparently Stone Henge, in the circle of the stones, was divided into quarters. So if you think of a circle, or you can't see, a circle divided into quarters, and it was apparently Stone Henge, the ones with the stones like this, was a masculine place, and the four quarters were different types of manhood. For example, fatherhood, warriorship. He couldn't remember what the others were. If anybody knows about this, please write in the comments, or I might get around to it. And this one at Avebury was about women, and four women, which cracks me up because you can see the stones are not all straight and organized like the men's one. and then when you divide the stones and the circle into quarters, it's about the different aspects of womanhood. For example, being a provider and nurturer, being a mother. Can't remember the others. He didn't know the others actually. But back to the topic of this Venus-Uranus transit that's happening, and unconventionality in relationship. I'm just going to mention this other thing. He talked about hand fasting and how relationships were shown commitment or given commitment in those days. And apparently, and I don't know if it was midwinter or midsummer, but one of the solstices, or maybe it was an equinox, maybe it was spring equinox. Anyway, over the 3 days, and when you have a solstice, you have the 3 days of stillness while the sun is just poised at its turning point in the sky, and before it turns around and starts heading the other way to the other hemisphere. And what they used to do on the first day of the 3 days, you would celebrate your current marriage or your current partnership. You would celebrate it, however it was going, you would celebrate it. And then on the second day of the 3 days, then you would decide if you were going to split or going to stay together. So at that point you might say thank you but goodbye, I'm going to move on. Or you might say yes please, let's do another year together, spend another year together. And then on the third day, all this things come undone and other things stay put. And on the third day, they would celebrate the new relationship or celebrate the decision to continue with the previous relationship. Well, when I heard this, I thought that is so awesome. It is honoring whatever has been in the last year, however it's gone, and then actually making a conscious effort to review and decide about, do you want to commit to each other for another year? And at the end of that year, having the chance to review that and maybe decide no at that point and to move forward in a different way with a single or with somebody else. And to acknowledge that relationships change and that it is important to have this time of review. Anyway, I just thought, oh gosh, that's from the past. It's not futuristic like Uranus, but unconventional compared to today, and really cool to hear. And it means you can decide each year, there's a way to decide each year how you're going to do it, how you're going to go forward. Really neat. So now I'm just going to go around and show you some other cool stones. That one there, it's really big, but it's actually quite narrow. So how did they do it? I don't know. And then along here behind me, I don't know if you can see, but there's a ditch. So I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 years ago, they had like a moat or a ditch, and it's not like defensive because it's inside the henge apparently, but that's 2,000 or 3,000 years and it's still really obvious. It's quite deep. What would it be, like 10 meters deep or something? And then I'm just going to show you this final kind of layout with the circle, and in the background you can see a church tower. So Christianity came along and took over from the pagans. Unfortunately, I reckon bring it back. Anyway, bye for now everybody. Have a good weekend.